Welcome to FreeMMOStation. I'm Skyland Shore, and today we're going to be taking a look at Chronicle, RuneScape Legends, a new, free-to-play collecting card game that plays a little bit more like a tabletop than I was prepared for.
FreeMMOStation.com.
This is not exactly the card game that maybe you were expecting, and it's not the strategy game that you were expecting. So when I came into this, I thought it was going to be something like Final Fantasy Tactics, maybe like Duelist, like some sort of tactic game, but it's not that. It's also not like Hearthstone. I mean, of course, aesthetically, completely inspired by Hearthstone. Nobody can deny that. But mechanically, it's not just a normal card game either. It's not directly head-to-head. You don't have a normal board like a card game would. So it's kind of a mix between those two genres, but not like Duelist. It's done in an entirely unique way. Instead of having a normal strategy board or a normal card board, you have like this storybook board thing. It really reminds me of a tabletop game, of like a role-playing sort of like board game, and your character actually traverses through the storybook as you fight your own cards, because it's weird, you place your own cards to fight against yourself in order to buff yourself, and then like there's this PvE element, but at the same time you're fighting your rival, you're kind of like duking it out as you travel through, and then at the final end, as you go through these 5 little levels, at the very end then whoever has the most health and the most damage, whoever is the best suited, and then whoever is the strongest at the end of this little journey is going to be the overall victor. So it's very strange. It reminds me very much of playing, like board games, and that's kind of like the inspiration of the game. Of course, aesthetically, very much like Hearthstone, it does have card elements, and the cards are huge, but it plays a lot like a board game. So I would really classify this more and less like a strategy card game. I mean, that's what it is, but I would say, if I were to describe it to people, I'd say that it's a digital board game. So yeah, let me go ahead and elucidate some of the mechanics here of Chronicles. You pick a legend, and this is going to be your character, this is going to be your class, and it works just like Hearthstone, except you don't have a class or legend ability. I don't know if this hasn't really been fleshed out enough. The game is still new, and as a card game, you need lots of cards to kind of make it, a good card game. You do have to collect cards, you do have to actually acquire them, so as a first impression, normally it's hard to grasp the entire game, the entirety of a game. However, as a card game, a collecting card game, it's even worse because I need to actually collect the cards, which you can't in a first impression. So whenever I came into this game and I was playing with the legends, they felt very similar to each other, but that's just because there's neutral cards that they all share. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But I feel at this moment that the different classes aren't as unique as Hearthstone simply because they don't have their own unique abilities, but they do absolutely have their own unique cards. However, maybe I just feel like it's a little bit less impactful because, I can't really grasp how many unique cards that they potentially have because I don't have them acquired yet. First impressions is your first impressions after all. But you do have a legend. This is your character. Now, this is where the game gets weird. You actually place your cards in your hand in a row, you will place them all down at once. Okay, not your whole hand, but you have up to 5, I believe, or you can place down, and your character fights these cards in a row. Sometimes you have support cards, which cost gold, and then you've got these monster cards, which you have to actually fight. One thing that you need to remember, which I didn't remember when I was playing for the first 5 games, is that you don't take damage if you kill them in one hit, so you need to actually appropriately equip your character to deal with stronger monsters so that you don't lose health. And this is really important. You don't want to lose health, man, because if you lose health, no matter how strong you are, in the very end, after these 5 stages, at the very end of the 5th stage, you actually duke it out with your rival. That means you just kind of AFK fight them, and you just trade blows. So even if you're super strong and have tons of damage, if you have really low health, they might still kill you. So, you got to do a little bit of math, a little bit of give and take. And yes, it is completely possible to actually not even get to the 5th stage. Either your rival knocks you out or you kill yourself. Because you do have this PvE element. You place your own cards, your own monster cards, to fight against. You have to actually kill them. And I know, especially for the Raptor, you have some huge-ass cards that you have to fight. And of course, the Raptor, though, can do tons of damage. He can actually get a lot of armor, so you're expected to be able to slay those monsters. But if you miscalculate, you could totally kill yourself, way before you even get a chance to fight your rival. But you do have cards that sometimes strike your rival. Sometimes you have cards that just straight up do damage to your rival or maybe do some debuff. There's even one class where you can actually give your rival gold, but then you have another card that does damage equal to their gold. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of very fun mechanics that are totally different than anything that you've seen in any card game, maybe in a couple board games, but that's the specialty of this game, is that it's a digital board game. Also, turns happen at the same time, which you can't do in normal board games. So it's pretty cool, man. Everybody lays their cards at the same time, and you go and you traverse through each level all at once. It doesn't go kind of turn by turn. It doesn't work like that. You have like basically 4 or 5 turns all at once, and then you go on to the next level, you lay out your cards, you go to the next level, you lay out your cards, you either die or you don't, and you get to the very end, whoever is best suited, whoever is strongest, is going to be the victor. It's just very weird, because in normal card games, you have a straight head-to-head PvP experience. You know, you lay your cards and you directly interact with the other enemy's cards, but in this game, you don't do that. You interact with your cards only, and you interact with your rivals specifically, but you don't actually interact with their cards. So it's kind of hard to call it just a card game. I mean, cards are an aspect, but it's not the, like, main focus. It's a little bit more vague and weird, and it's all new, but it's pretty fun. But finally, let's talk about the cash shop of this free-to-play game. You know, it's pretty important. Overall, it doesn't seem super pay to win. I mean, it is a collecting card game, so there is always, you're never almost ever gonna get rid of that, like, pay-to-win element because you have to actually collect the cards. So as you are leveling up, you might feel a little bit of disbalance, but the game competitively is meant to be played in mind with the fact that you have all the cards for your specific strategy. That's just how it is, guys, okay? So you do have to collect the cards. You can buy booster packs, and there is crafting. Nothing too dissimilar from other similar games that are card collecting. So, you know, basically think Hearthstone, that's what you get. You also have legends, and I don't know if these are going to be purchasable or not. I don't know if it's like you buy legends or if you're just going to have them unlocked as they are created, like how it was in Hearthstone. I don't know that right now. All we have is 4 legends currently, but I imagine and I would hope that they continuously add on to the legends, and hopefully they don't make them purchasable. If so, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I would like it if it was still just the booster packs. I think that's fine enough. But yeah, the user experience is actually really solid. It's probably not as good as it could be on PC. I would like to see an enhanced edition for PC, but you can actually play this on mobile devices, and it works perfectly with mobile devices. It looks good, runs good, it's got a very clean art style, it's got perfect touch controls. But for PC, I would like to see a little bit more advanced options for increasing the graphical fidelity, the shaders, and also maybe a slightly retuned menu system, and keyboard keybinds would be nice. That's all I gotta say about Chronicles RuneScape Legends. No, you don't need to have had played RuneScape to fully enjoy this game. It's basically kind of a skinning. You know, you do get a little bit more because of your scheming, your prior knowledge coming into this. You're going to understand some of the inside jokes. You're going to gleam a little bit more, but not gameplay, not mechanics-wise. You know, it's a totally different game. You don't need to have had any previous experience with RuneScape. However, if you do play the game, I think you could actually, you know, get into RuneScape because of it. And RuneScape is actually updating once again. Whole new engine, looking pretty good. So all in all, I think the RuneScape franchise is actually probably going to do really well. But standalone, Chronicles is a good game. Thanks for watching. I'm Skyline Shore with FreeMMOStation. Like and subscribe to the station for news, videos, top 10s on free multiplayer games. It's what we do. And until next time.